Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming. What we're going to be going over tonight is the indexes. We're going to be starting with, okay, target, charge point. All right. We can go over those for sure. I'm going to start with the overall indexes and then we'll go from there. So one of the things I've noticed that I've been going over and back testing recently is I've been looking at the difference between ES or the futures markets versus SPX, which I'll put it up here, and also let's NDX, and then also SPY and QQQ. So basically what I've been doing is looking over the futures markets and then looking at the major indexes, these here, and seeing, charting them out, taking my levels, and then seeing which ones work out the best. And so what I've noticed is that the levels that hit the best is actually in the futures market for whatever reason. So like I've been charting each of these out. I rechart everything every day and before the markets open, and I watch each of these things. And what I've noticed is the levels that hit the most accurately is /ES, which is S&P 500 futures, and then /NQ, which is the other markets, or sorry, the NASDAQ. And so basically what we're going to go over is we're going to chart the ES and NQ because I believe those are the most accurate. And I'll show you guys an example so you can have an understanding of what I'm seeing as well. So if you just take a look at this from yesterday or Friday's price action, you can see here, I'm going to pull up both of these and have SPX here as well. So you're going to see ES here, SPX over there. I'm going to pull up the 15-minute. Actually, I'll do the 5 minutes so you can see even more accurately. Okay, so basically, take a look at this. I found this very interesting. So when you go and look at, I charted these the exact same way. I chart all my stocks the exact same way. So what I found interesting was on Friday, one of my levels caught the dead bottom. If you notice here, or sorry, here. And here. These are the same charts, right? This is both the S&P 500. You look at these two things and you can see that the levels hit, they're just such a small difference, but it makes the complete difference when you're entering the trade. Because this is on the 5 minute. I don't have time to decipher whether I want to get in a trade or not. And so basically, if you take a look at this level here, same exact level, same stock, it's just a different type of way of tracking it. So if you look here, the same level that I have charted out on SPX and the same level I have charted out here on ES, I would have easily much wanted to get into calls here because look at where it bounced off, like literally perfect off support. And I had this drawn from the beginning of the day. Okay, so go look here. This would have made me want to get in puts. So that's something you might want to take note of and pay attention to. Is just that I've been studying both of these and back testing each of these for weeks. And something that I found that was more accurate is ES. So this is one example, right? I got one more example to show you guys, and then we'll actually get into the charting just because I think this is a very important concept for people to just to make your life easier. So here's another example right here. I'll highlight it so you can see it. So here, same idea. I actually caught this trade, but I was watching SPX and I just noticed it couldn't make lower lows. So I took this trade and it ended up going 600% by the end of Friday. But the thing I want to get across to you guys is, okay, you see this first example where ES hit, the levels hit way more accurately. Okay, now take a look over here. So this is the same thing. This is on Thursday. And basically these levels on Thursday and Friday on ES caught the dead bottom of that day. Like you would have caught the dead bottom if you were charting it the same way I'm charting it and the same way I've been doing it. I had these levels drawn, and look at the difference, and I'll remove these so it's easier to see. Look at how it broke below here on 40,000. Even if I go and change this here to 40,000 or whatever, you know what I'm saying, 4,000. If you go and look at these, okay, look at how perfectly it held on the 5 minute, right? Like literally couldn't have held better. perfect widths going down, holding it perfectly. And then look at this. It broke below 4,000. I still took the trade here, but I think most traders wouldn't have watched this and wanted to take this trade just because it's like, is it really holding this level or not? It just gives you more accurate representation. So that's something I noticed just charting on my own and just watching these in the past few, I would say, month or so I've been watching. And that's something I've just paid attention to. So take note of that. Start watching the ES and the futures market because they just happen to be more accurate. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Now we'll actually get into it. So I will be charting ES and the NASDAQ or futures markets because they tend to be more accurate. Obviously, that's based on what I'm saying. Okay, and then I'll give you one more example because I found this really interesting. So see how we had a rejection here and there's no level. I'm still charting the same stuff, but there's no level. Now check this out. It wasn't perfect, but if you go to a bigger time frame and look at the 15-minute, you had a pretty nice break and failed breakout, and then look at how far we've gone down, right? And look at the futures markets after this whole situation happened of the rejection on Friday right before close. So this could have been an opportunity to get in puts. And most likely, where do you think we're going to come down to? Maybe around this area, or we got supply right here. So that's my game plan kind of going into tomorrow. This is considered to be a demand zone and something that we'll want to watch. For the people that just joined, if you guys have certain tickers you want me to go over tonight, just put them in the chat. I've got a few already, and I'll try to get to them all. But right now, we're going to start charting the futures markets, as I just explained. So I'm going to clear it off, as I do every time. I always clear off my charts and start fresh on in the morning every day. It takes like 5 minutes, so and it makes your levels more accurate. So what I do personally is I have a line chart setting on my computer or on my Thinkorswim account. Go to clear. If you don't know how to do this, DM me and I can do that for you. But this is what I'm looking at. So I like to chart my levels off of the line chart because they're more clear. And I used to be really against this, and then I started actually doing it, and I found that levels are much more accurate when I do this. So without further ado, let's get into it. So how I look at getting levels for a stock, this is just my standard way of doing it, is basically what I do is, there's some people trying to join. Basically what I do is I take the line chart, I look for significant bounces or rejections. So like where price reacts to something pretty drastically. Like for example, I would say this here is a pretty drastic rejection. Like it came up to this level and look at how far we dropped. Okay, now look at this level here and how fast we bounced. These are considered to me to be key levels where there's big bounces or big rejections. Those are the levels I want to play because they're going to hit the hardest. Just for example, like the levels we were just looking at a few minutes ago, those levels, they were 600% plays in the same day just because they're key levels. And I like to wait for those key levels. So two things that I like to look for is one, these key points, turning points is the easiest way to put it, where price turns and goes the complete opposite direction. And then I like to look for 2 points of where it actually touches. So when we go into this, I'm gonna dive into it a little bit more, but what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go through and plot these levels. And if you have questions, let me know, but this is basically what we're gonna be looking at. So for example, we have here, I would say this is a pretty clear level, right? We got a bounce, strong bounce here. And just to put into perspective, you can always take this tool here. Let's see, trend line tool. Okay, so this was a 7% move based on just looking at that move. That's how big that move was. Okay, so now you see one bounce here, another rejection, another rejection. That's what we're looking for. Key levels where the price completely turns around and then decides to run the opposite way. Okay, so let's see if we can see another one. We're looking for just obvious points. I always start on the daily and I don't really go much lower than that. I'd go on the weekly once in a while, but I like to start on the daily. It gives me a more accurate picture in my opinion. So here's another level. We had a significant bounce here, right? Almost twice. And then same with here, couple bounces. And then this is where we had this big rejection and that huge decline we saw a couple months ago. And so if we go through here, we're going to go through the same thing, looking for accurate levels, right? Where we have clear bounces or rejections. I like to see the levels act as support and resistance. So meaning it comes up or it comes down and bounces off a level, and then also comes up and rejects the level as well. Those are probably my favorite types of support and resistance, right? And I wasn't even looking over here, but look, it's pretty clear bounce here as well. So that's something to keep in mind. So as we continue, we just looking through, we go through and find levels of where we see price bounce. This one, I would kind of take price based off of over here, right? Not perfect over here, but you can see 1, 2 bounces here. Here, you can see price bounced here, had the consolidation. When it finally broke this level, we had a big move down, right? And then let's see if we can find some more levels here. This one, pretty decent level, nothing to write home about, right? But there's rejection here, and once it broke through, we had a huge run here. And then when you're not really seeing more levels that you like, keep just looking through, and I'm not going top to bottom. I'm not doing anything special. I'm just looking at the same thing, continuing just to look through and see where price reacts in a manner that catches my attention, right? And it's nothing more than that. And then it has 2 touches. So 2 touches, points where price turns in a drastic way. And yeah, that we just go from there. So like another example would be here. And so one thing to note on the line chart is that you can see sometimes it doesn't come to that price exactly. But if you move over to the candle chart or candlesticks, it'll show you that price reacts in a pretty similar way. Let's see. If you go back to ES, and you can see we had a breakout here, right? And we go to the day chart. So you can see how that level didn't react perfectly on the line chart, but you can see that the wicks came down and touched it almost perfectly on the actual candlestick chart. So that's one thing to keep in mind. They don't need to be absolutely perfect. You're just looking for those key turning points. I'm going to go back to the line chart, and it switched up on me. Hold on. There we go. And then let's see. So we've got key levels here. Sometimes I like to look and go to the 4-hour just to make sure that I'm not missing anything drastic. I mean, this could be you could plot this as a level as well. See here, had a rejection, bounce here, had a good move up to this next level. Same thing, rejection, came back up. This probably would be a retest on the candlestick chart, right? And a move up. So right now we're in a supply zone. So I'm not going to get into that. That's too much right now. So basically, this is what you're looking for. You're looking for these key levels, and then we'll go take a look on the line chart so you guys can get a good idea of what it looks like, or the candlestick chart of what it looks like when price actually reacts to these levels. And yeah, so you can kind of see an idea, right? This is the 5-minute chart. You can see, look at the perfect bounce here. The levels are the same almost every time. The reason I redo them is because it'll give you a good representation just to practice levels and get them down, and also be familiar with where they're at. So you're not just trading one day and then you're like, oh, it's coming to a level. You need to know the relevance of this level. Like, why is this level important? Why are we playing this level? You want to have that reminder every day to understand that. So you can see here, when we just chart these levels, look at this move it had. Held this level. This is easily, I played this on Friday and I took some profit here and this was 60% here. So if you would have let it run all the way up to here, this was easy. I believe I bought $100 per contract at the beginning of the day, and they ended up running to, or here is where I bought it. And they were $100 per contract, expiring in a couple days. And by the end of the day, they were worth $400 per contract. I don't remember where it closed, but yeah. So these levels, this is why I play these levels, because they have a drastic reaction to them. Like you can see price fell here. This was an okay move, right? But I'd much rather catch this one where it's clear and obvious holding and boom, it has a massive move. All of this is the same day. This is a 5-minute chart. Each of these candles are 5 minutes. This is a huge move, right? So this is what we're looking for. These are the levels I'm going to be watching pretty much tomorrow. I mean, I might make a little bit of revisions, but I usually don't. And then you can, if you go to the line chart or the candlestick chart, and we're looking at the day chart here. So each candle represents a day. Look at how perfectly these hold, right? Look at this rejection here. Look at where it's holding down here. Look at where it's rejecting here. These levels are almost perfect just because I was using the line chart. So definitely give that a try. I was very biased against it because it felt lame when it was in comparison to candle charts, but the accuracy is so much better. And so one of the things I also want to show you guys is that go back to the line chart. And so check this out. So I'm going to do it on SPX just because we don't have levels on here yet. This is something I found interesting, right? So if we already understand that levels are easier to see on the day chart, right? Okay, so, or sorry, on the line chart. So if we break this down, so are trend lines. Trend lines are easier to see on a line chart. Like I'm telling you guys, it makes your life so much easier if you just use a line chart when you're charting and then use your entries on the candlestick chart. Like it makes it much easier to see what's going on, right? So here's an example. Like I was terrible at trend lines until I started using the line chart, and it made my support and resistance levels that much better. So now you can see like we have strong reactions, and this is kind of a weird trend line to look at, but we'll go back to the candlestick chart and look at how cleanly these play, right? So you probably would not have seen this trend line on the candlestick chart, but if you take a look at this line chart, it makes a huge difference in the way you see things on the charts. And then you just play those levels that you find on the line chart. Just use the candlestick chart to mark your entries, get your entries, right? You had a clean rejection here, and then look at when we did break out of it, right? Drill down. We had a nice move up. So it came out, failed it, right? And had a nice move up. Okay, so I hope you guys understand the whole concept of using the line chart, right? And now we're going to go do the same thing with /NQ. We're going to do the same thing. Okay. So NQ, here we go. I'm going to clean this off. We're going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to move it so we have 4 years worth of data just so I can see this backside here. And then we're going to zoom in, and I'm only going to do levels that are going to be relevant to us in the near term, right? We're not going to, I don't want to fill up levels up here, like up here, because it's not going to have really any relevance this week unless we have an insane run. Okay, so we're going to go through here. We're going to look and try and chart levels, right? We're going to find things that look good to us. Okay, so here we go. 2 touches, 1, 2, and then we got a third touch here. And then we had a pretty good rejection here. So that's what we're looking for. 1, 2, massive move. And then another good bounce. Same thing here. And then what are we going to do from here? We keep looking for levels, right? trying to find things. I've always had trouble with the NASDAQ. It's a little bit harder to get accuracy on here. And so this is typically where I drill down to the 4-hour chart because it's easier to see for NASDAQ. So here you go. Bounce here, bounce here. This is what we're looking for. And then, okay, so this is a really obvious level, right? Nice turning point here. Nice turning point. This is a pretty obvious level that we need to have marked. Okay, now look at how it reacted over here. Rejection, rejection. So this previous price action that we see over here, we're using it to see what's going on in the future. This is how we can make good educated guesses on what might happen next. Okay, so here's another one, right? Bounce, strong reaction, rejection, strong reaction. That's what we're looking for, right? That's literally all this is. That's all we're doing when I come and do this. I come back and do this every morning on these two stocks and just focus on key turning points, how levels are reacted to, and basically how they move in comparison. Okay, here's another one. Bounce, strong reaction. Another bounce here, strong reaction. And we don't want to put too many lines because then you're just going to start confusing yourself. And we want to focus on these ones that are key levels that have massive moves, like the one we saw on Friday, like the one we saw on Thursday. We want to play those levels because we don't want to waste our money on other ones. Like we want to focus on these key levels where there's huge moves that will give us at least 100% return. I'm not going to take a play that doesn't give me more than at least 50% return. Okay, so here's another level. Not a perfect bounce, but look at the massive move we had after it, right? There, rejection here. That's where we want to play these levels. Honestly, we might want to go down a little bit just because that move was a much bigger move, right? And then if we drill down to the 4-hour, which is usually the lowest I go, you can do this on whatever time frame you want. I just like the daily levels personally, and that's the ones I choose to play. And then we can pull a few more levels from here, right? So here's another one, right? Bounce here has a significant reaction. That's all that we're looking for. Okay, so now let's go back to the candlestick chart so you guys can get an idea of what it looks like on the candlestick chart. I'm going to move it over. Okay, so these are the levels we just charted, right? So we got a level up there that we're waiting on. And then just take a look at how these react, right? When we had a breakdown below this level, look at this clean bounce and hold, right? And then we finally lost it, had a fake out, which we call a liquidity grab. It's not going to get into that. But then look at how when we consolidated below this level, we finally had a drastic move down. And then look at the perfect bounce we had here. Picture perfect. Came down, holding this level. This is a 1-hour chart, so it makes it even more harder to, or more significant. Look at the double bottom we have here. This was on Friday. This is the move we had. And look at how it holds. Look at the fake out, right? Getting a lot of people to buy puts and then just shooting up after we break back above it, right? Come back down, retest it, and then look at the massive move we had after. Okay, so now take a look here. When we broke above, look at the move we had after. Consistent, huge move up. And this, I can't give you guys an easier way to do it. And this is how I do it. Check out this move here. Comes down perfectly. One candle touches it, 1 5-minute candle. And then we had a nice bounce after. And then this is aftermarket. That's why it looks so choppy here. Same thing here. Perfect bounce. A solid move. Catching that move, it's a half percent return or 0.5% move on the major indexes. That's a solid move. And this is the move we were just talking about. Had some people faked out. Now you can see this a little bit more clean, right? So when we had the breakdown, we had a retest, breakdown, and then we had a good move here. Let me know if this isn't making sense to you guys. We had a nice move here, almost 0.6 down. Let me know if this isn't making sense to you guys. But that's basically the entire concept of how I chart support and resistance, okay? And that's literally the whole concept of how I go about trading and marking my support and resistance for the day ahead. And I do this every morning, do the same thing every day. And I always use a line chart. I go from you can start from the weekly if you're a longer term trader. And then I move to the daily, and then I move down to the 4 hour, and then I don't really go lower from there. I just prefer those, right? And this is exactly how my chart looks, and I trade it this way. And like I said, I picked up using the futures markets recently just because I found them to be more accurate for whatever reason. They just ended up being that way. So if you guys have more questions on the indexes, I can go over that, put them in the chat. But we have a few requests for charting, and I'll go over those for you guys. And if you guys have charts you would like me to go over and just get my perspective on them, I definitely can do that. But right now we're going to go right into it and go over these stocks that you guys want me to cover. So let's go target. Okay, so don't need that. And something you can notice too, like patterns, you'll be able to notice patterns a lot more cleanly on the line chart as well. And if you're ever questioning, like looking at the candlestick chart, and then you think you see an inverse head and shoulders, like for example, ITNC, this was a perfect head and shoulders, right? It looks like it failed majorly, but look at perfect head and inverse head and shoulders. Shoulder. This was just an example I remember from earlier when I was studying the line chart, right? Inverse head and shoulders, right? There's the head, two shoulders, boom. Okay, and then look at the move we had up, and then we failed it pretty hard. Okay, well, anyways, so I'm gonna go back to, that's just an example I want you guys to see. Going to target. Okay, so if you want to let me know your thought process behind it, let me know that, so then I can give you a more accurate picture of what I see and how I would go about trading it. But so for example, things I'm seeing immediately, we're looking at the daily chart, right? Here, I'll answer this question real quick because it's about SPY. Where do you think you see SPY heading this week? Test and fail of resistance, or fall and bounce off support? Okay, so what I like to do is pick up scenarios, right? I don't know exactly what the indexes are going to do. We never do know. But if we go to here and look at, this is what I think is probably going to happen. I mean, I obviously don't know, but this is my guess, right? So personally, I think we're probably going to have a move. We had a rejection here. The major level that I saw here was that we rejected perfectly off of was 1,300 or 13,000 on NASDAQ. It's just a big whole number, right? That's what I like to see. Okay, so, and I'm not surprised we had a pretty strong rejection and we're down after hours. So right now we're in supply or demand. I always get those mixed up, but we're in demand. I don't like to play supply and demand zones. I just don't find them effective for me personally. I know a lot of people that use them, but I just don't like them. But I think we definitely could see a rejection here, and we're going to have a move back down to here. We could see a retest of this level. And if we do break down from this level, it could be a double bottom. Or we could see a breakdown from this level and then have a move down, back down, and start this downtrend again. I wouldn't be surprised if we started the downtrend again. Yeah. And so, but I would definitely be bullish if I saw this move above here. Like if we get above here, I will probably be looking for calls, right? When we get above this level and hold. But I would love to get a new entry down here, whether it's puts or calls. Watch this level, and then same for ES. I would love to see this level come back down and be retested. It looks like that might happen, but here's a double bottom here. But I would love to see this level tested, right? And then for an entry for calls or puts. But these are the two levels I'm watching. I don't like to predict what's going on, but I just play the levels, right? I don't really care knowing where the market's going to go. I just want to play it accordingly and be prepared for whatever comes my way, right? So I'm just going to play this accordingly. So I hope that answers your question. I'm going to be basically just going to be playing these levels. We're in a strong uptrend, so I'm planning on playing calls. And until we start a trend of higher highs or lower lows, we either start a downtrend or yeah. Okay, cool. You got the answer you wanted. Cool. So I'm playing the trend and the trend is up right now. So that's what I'm going to be playing until we see otherwise. We break these higher lows, then I'll be looking to play puts, right? And that's right at my level, which is perfect. So, okay. So we're going to go back to target. So you said your trigger, looking to play the gap run up, had a nice breakout on the daily. Yeah. Okay. So had a nice breakout on the daily. I'm looking to re-enter on a retest and hold. Okay. So target. So, okay. So what I'm looking for here, what I would look for is I kind of like, I see this level here that I like, this one here. It came down and it broke this, had two strong rejections here and had a strong bounce here. So that's where I would look to play it. Let me look on. I would wait if I was going to get in this. The market's been running way too hard for me to get in calls without some bullish sentiment from the indexes. So what I would look for, and historically consumer staple or consumer discretionary is not very strong right now. So what I would be looking to play is a retest of this level here. That's what I would want to play. You could play the breakout of this level as well. And I think you could see a pretty decent move like 165 to 170, like a short swing trade. I could see that happening. That's what I would personally play. I would look for moves to this level or moves from this level, right? I'll look for those two different levels to play this. And yeah, where's that gap you were talking about? And guys, I'm gonna let you know that I got 6 minutes that shows left on this. So if we get cut off, I'm just gonna start the thing again, start the class again, and then you guys can just rejoin. But I got the free version of whatever it's called of Zoom. Okay, so yeah, so this is pretty similar of what I'd be looking at. So here's the day chart, right? Is this some sort of inverse head and shoulders? Well, here it was shoulder, head, shoulder, had the breakdown. This is where I would have liked to get in. Honestly, look, you got a gap, you had another gap down, and it was an easy gap fill. So as you can see, it came up and tried to break out past this and then rejected pretty hard. That's what I would be playing, right? That's what I would be looking to play. Stochastics looks a little starting to get oversold. So no, this is not where I would get in, honestly. Like your entry would have wanted to be closer to here. And that was a very nice move up. So that's how I would have played this. So yeah, that's how I would play this. So next one, charge point. Okay, summing this up. I'd play it over this level, 165, right? Or play the 150 level. Preferably, I like bounces, so I would take the 150 level and just be patient on that one. And that would be a longer swing as well to try and catch that entire move to fill the gap. So I would get time on it on your contracts. So, okay. Now we're looking at charge point. Charge point, it has a big pattern is playing out here. So what we're looking for, right? This is what I'm seeing. We had a nice breakout. And let's see. Okay. So we have, okay, I do like this. I like this actually. I would probably play this here. I'd want it to break the 1540 level as it seems pretty significant as we've had these rejections here. And what I would be playing is the move after it breaks the 1540 area. That's what I would play. Or if you come down and retest this 11 area or 1140 area, that would also be a good place to get in. So yeah, that's how I'd go about playing this. Play the bounce or play off these levels. And if we break this, we look good for a move up to $18. SQ. Oh wait, you know what? It's gonna cause a problem. No. Okay, so SQ. Yeah, see, I already got a bear flag drawn on this. We're in a weird spot. Like, we got this level here. And when it held this, or when it broke this level, it ran hard. So that's what I'm gonna be. We're in a bear flag though. So, and then we got resistance here. It's a growth stock. Growth stocks are doing pretty bad recently. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, honestly. There's a lot of chop that's going on here, and we have a bear flag, which you could play that, right? But besides that, there's nothing really making me want to jump into this. I mean, there's a level yeah, you could play this level here, the 76 level. You could play that bounce and rejection. So yeah, you could play this level for sure. So that's how I'd go about playing this. I'd probably try to find downside, but I'd wait for the market to turn. And then if you play below 6150, or if I was to play that, I would see it go. I'd look for it to move down here, down to $50. So a $10 move, yeah, that's solid. That's something I'd keep an eye on for more downside, like a rejection of this level here, where it's at now, down to here, and then leave some runners to catch the move down to 51. That could be a pretty big move. I like the risk reward for sure. SLB as you want. And okay, so the one that I was looking at is SLB. I have no idea what this might be like. I don't know what the stock is. So maybe let's go to the weekly chart. Okay. So, right, we've got a pretty decent uptrend, right? So I hope you're looking to play calls. Whoever, yeah, oil stock. Okay. So let me know if there's any reason in particular why you want to play this stock. And yeah, because usually I would just go for something like XOM or Chevron. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing, right? Okay, good. You're looking for calls. Okay, so yes, I like this level that it's holding. It had a perfect bounce off it. This might have been where I'd want to get in, or we're holding this trend line as well. Whoop. So yeah, that's what I would want to be looking for. I would want to see a move here. Let's see. We got another resistance here, right? And this is probably where I would look. I'd probably wait for the 40 area. But right now, this has got a lot of levels. So yeah, okay. So what I would be looking for is a move probably back down to this 35 area, because that's where the support is. As you can see, where it bounced here, bounced here, bounced here. And then the trend line actually crosses right about here as well. That's probably where I'd want to get in and play this stock. And I like it from there. And then I wouldn't be surprised if we made a move to new highs. But I wouldn't personally, I would not hold it for that long. Where I'd probably be playing this is the move back down to here, hold support on the 15-minute or so, and look for a move up to 38. And then I'd probably take most of my position off there just because there's a lot of crap it's got to get through, right? There's all these all this moving around, all the stock consolidating. So a lot of people consider this as a demand zone or supply zone, sorry. And I just wouldn't want to hold it through that mess. But yeah, that's how I would play it. I'd wait for that level, right? And then I would play here and then let runners go and have my stop at entry. That's how I would personally play this if I was going to. Yeah. So, all right. Next thing. Okay, so you said sympathy runner from oil companies like USO, Oxy, ran as hard as those trying to play the uptrend for a new high. Okay, but so the only thing I would say to go against that is why wouldn't you just play the things that are already strong? Like if you already see things are strong and you hear Warren Buffett buying a bunch of Oxy, like why wouldn't you play it? Because you don't want to, like when you run the risk of playing a stock that's weaker, then you run the risk of it not moving as well as these other ones. So like, why not just play the ones that already are moving right? Like they're already moving really well. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, so that's how I would personally play this, right? And like honestly, I would probably go and play Oxy or XOM. I hope this makes sense for you if I'm answering your question right. That's how I would personally play this because I'd rather play stronger things than weaker just because they're probably going to run harder and the move is probably going to be a lot better. Like, for example, this here. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to see what BP did. BP, see, BP is not doing anything that we want. Like, see, this is the example. Like, it hasn't ran as hard, and look at you're missing on. Like, see if you took BP where it's weaker versus taking Exxon or however you say it, whatever. I'm like speaking as a ticker, but look at this is almost already at new highs. So if that makes sense, I hope that makes sense for you. That's why I would rather play one of these. I'd rather wait on a pullback on a stronger oil stock and then play that upside, right? Okay. So let's see. Let me pull up the other tickers that you guys requested before. If you guys have tickers you want me to request or draw out for you or chart, I can do that. Just let me know. Okay, SE, let me know your reasoning behind it. And so I can get a clearer picture of what you're trying to do. SE, what is this, SeaWorld? I don't know.
What's up, BR?
I'm not sure what that is. Okay, so these are the levels I'm looking for. Honestly, are you looking to play puts here or calls? Because I mean, it could be bottoming out, but it's also extremely weak. So I don't really like that about it. Like, look at it was up at 366 at one point, and now it's under $100. That's a very strong move to the downside. And yeah, it could turn around, right? But I don't see any significant support here besides it's just kind of hanging out right here in a chop zone. So I don't love this, honestly, unless you're trying to play the downside. So yeah. So that's my opinion on that one. There's nothing I like too much on that one. Nugget, I don't know what this one is. You guys have some random tickers. I thought you'd ask for like AMD or NVIDIA or something. Gold. Okay, so this is a gold company, right? So there's no direction here. I wouldn't want to play this just because there's no direction. It's just straight chop. Yeah, like look, it hasn't done anything significant besides its drop in 2011. So I don't love this, to be honest. I would rather just go to gold and just play this here. I'd rather play this because look at bounce off strong support. Wow, this actually could be, I didn't even mean to look at this. Okay, thank you for making me look at this. I would probably look to play gold. Just, we had a strong bounce off of about 160 support, right? The 159 area. We had a strong bounce, and that's something I'd be interested in playing. We've been in this zone of bouncing from here to here, here to here, right? We could see a strong move in gold all the way up to 185 based on the way this chart is looking. I'd probably take it to here, 178, but this is probably a better thing to play, right? So that's what I'd be looking at. Versus the other ticker that you were saying. I can't remember, Nugget. Just because that one's not doing anything. It doesn't look like anybody's interested in it since it had that huge drop. Okay, so Meta is another one people wanted to look at. Okay, so I was actually looking at this one on, I can't remember what day it was. It might have been Friday. And I do like this. So for example, we had this move here, or we have support there. I don't love that support. It's a weak chart. I'm gonna move back to the day chart, sorry. Let's see. 15-minute. Okay. Or 15-year, right? Okay, so this is what I'd be looking for. So now you can see it's a little more clear on the day chart, right? The holding support. Now, if you drill down here and look, one thing I did notice is that this had a nice hammer candle on the daily. It might have been on Thursday, I think. So it could be not as important, but I'm going to go look at it. Oh, 2 times leverage for gold. No, honestly, I would just play gold, and I just think it would probably be a better situation for you, honestly, just because it's only moved $5 up from the lows. And it's been tanking ever since. Okay. So that's my opinion on that. Just because it's 2 times leverage doesn't always mean it's going to be better. You might as well just play gold. The premium is going to be jacked up on those anyways if you're playing options for the 2 times leverage stuff. So I would personally play the gold because premiums are going to be extremely high on options contracts that are on leveraged things. So you're going to lose more money to theta than anything. And I just don't think it's worth it, honestly. So that's my opinion on that. So I would just look to play the other, look to play regular gold. Okay, so this is what I was looking at. Man. Okay, so we could have an entry here tomorrow. This is probably the best one I've seen so far. I really like this here. We still have a gap to fill, right? We're forming some sort of pattern here. But more importantly, I don't really care about that as much. What I more so care about is look at these candles here. Let's check the volume, right? High volume on these 2 candles, and we have nice holds of support. And we got a gap to fill all the way up here. So this could be a nice swing. I do like this actually a lot. So whoever called this out, this is actually a good one. So you've seen the last few times we've held support and had a pretty decent move both times up to I'm just going to mark it where it moved up to, right? 156 to 17. Wow. 171. I like it. Meta looks beautiful to me for a nice runner. Yeah, I agree. If the market complies, I definitely think this could be a nice trade. I do like this one. This is actually one of the better ones I liked. It reminds me of Shop. Just for reference, you want to look at things that have relevance and they play the same way. Look at how many times you could have played this, right? A move from $30 to $40, $30 to $40, $30, $40, $30, $40. It reminds me of the same idea. It's just ranging, and you can play the bounce of support up to resistance, and you can just keep playing it over and over again. So yeah, that's what I like about Facebook looks very good. I like this play a lot. I do. Okay, so thank you for pointing that out. I'm gonna keep an eye on that. But most importantly, I like the high volume. The people bought this up when it had that drop the other day, right? And people are still buying it up even when it had this drop. It was weaker than the overall market, which concerns me. But this is a key level to keep in mind and to watch. So definitely keep an eye on this. That level in particular, whether it's playing calls, playing puts, I'd be more comfortable playing calls just because it's bounced off that so many times and has had a nice run. Okay, so let's see. Other tickers that you guys were naming. ChargePoint had an inside day. I do like ChargePoint a lot. So waiting on the trigger to hit. Yeah, I do like ChargePoint. That was another one that somebody pointed out. It does look really good. I like it over this. Let's see. Maybe zoom out a little bit. Yeah, I like it over this 1550 level. It looks really good from there. PayPal is starting to look decent. Figured it'd be a nice sympathy play. I don't remember which one you're talking about, but PayPal, I was looking at that a little while ago. I do like that as well. But the entry I would have wanted to get would have been a couple of weeks ago. When it was bouncing off this support here, or when it broke back above and retested it. Okay, this is a prime example of why these key levels are the things we want to play, right? Bounce, bounce, huge move. Come look over here. We had a break and rejection and had a strong move down where you could have played it once. And then look at when we had the break back above, comes back down. Look at that nice, perfect bounce right off this level, off the 77 level. And we made a huge move all the way up, almost a $10 move on this stock. This is probably where I would have wanted to play it, right? But now we look like we're here. That's something I want to keep an eye on. This level here, maybe move it down a little bit. That's something I'd want to keep an eye on, that level, to maybe play it even for more upside or downside, because I could definitely see it reject here for sure. Somebody said Uber. Yes, we can do Uber. Thoughts on Uber and Tesla? Tesla, somebody was asking me about that the other day. I actually do like Tesla. Uber, okay. So, okay, so this is all the price action that we got. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it had a triple bottom here. 1, 2, 3, triple bottom. So that's something that's interesting to me. And then we had this level here that it came down and retested. So maybe I would like it. I would like to see it come back down to this level and then maybe catch it there. But it's been pretty, it's just the trend is ultimately down. And we broke out of this. We broke out of this wedge here, or I don't know if I want to call it. Yeah, I guess I would call it a wedge. But we broke that bottom trend line, right? And now we're still kind of making, I don't know, it could just be another retest of it. It could come up and retest this trend line and then make another move down. Because we don't really have much support. I mean, this was decent support here where it's been holding, but other than that, if it breaks down below this level, we're probably going to go back down to here. I wouldn't see why we wouldn't. I wouldn't feel comfortable getting in calls in this personally. I mean, how's Lyft look? Lyft looks even worse. Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to play either of these. There's no significant support. Like Facebook, we had significant support, right? Like this support to me is pretty significant. Like there's huge bounces here that happened years ago that people are still watching. These are weekly levels, so they definitely have a huge impact. So that's why I would be more comfortable playing Facebook calls versus what's it called? Uber calls. Meta let's see. Okay, so this is a good thing I'd like to go over. Apple. Okay, so I'm gonna do Tesla first, and then we'll talk about Apple. So Tesla. Okay, Tesla. So I was looking at this the other day, and I do like this one. So there's a level here about 880. That's what I would be looking for. Tesla holds 880. We could probably see a move. Holy crap! Yeah, that would be a big move. Yeah, you could probably see a move up to, I would guess pretty close to 950. Um, Obviously you need to get past the 900 mark, but I do like this for a move up to at least 900, right? If we hold 880, I could see it going to 900 and then ultimately going to 938. I mean, it doesn't look bad for that move. And you could also play it up to this trend line if you really wanted to. It's I wouldn't doubt seeing it go from breaking this back up and then coming to retest this level at 1,790, whatever. This level here or this trend line, I wouldn't be surprised if it came up and rejected that. So yeah, that's something I would definitely keep an eye on. So calls or puts, I'm more bullish than anything if it holds 880, right? Let's see. Apple. Okay, so what I have against Apple here playing puts is that if you look, why would you want to? I just wouldn't want to play puts here because it's like it's almost going straight up. So like I just would not want to play something that's going straight up like this. It's not like I'd rather play something weaker like these other tickers like what were the ones we were going over? Uber. Like I'd rather play puts on that because it's just too strong. Apple looks ridiculously strong here, right? Like it's continuing almost straight up, almost going straight up. And so, I mean, I would consider playing puts on a break of this trend line here, if anything. But, and then let's see for levels here. Let's see what levels we got. Okay, so this is a level I missed this one, but I wanted to play the bounce and retest to that level there. But these are the things I'm looking for. Here's levels that I'm looking for, right? This is a great level, 156.76. I really like that level. So if we come down and maybe break this level, that's when I would consider playing puts. But besides that, I mean, I don't really see too much going on here. Maybe playing this level here, 166. I could see a good move down from 166 on a rejection, but really that's about it. It's not necessarily if I'd want to play puts or calls on any of these tickers. It's more so how I'm going to play the reaction of these levels. Like, okay, I would probably take calls if it bounced off 156.76 and held this level. I would probably take calls. But if we had a breakdown, I'd probably take puts down to this level down here. And that's how I go about playing any of these tickers. So that when I came on and showed you guys how to chart ES, chart NQ, my purpose is to show you guys levels to play reactions to these levels. I don't want you to come in with a bias. I want you to come in with the attitude, okay, oh, it's at a key level. let's see how it reacts. And let's go from there. That's how we'll play it from there. So yeah, that's basically how I want you guys to look at this and play them. Okay, we're at a key level. Oh, it's bouncing. Okay, let's play the upside then. So for Apple, I'll just show you an example of the levels that we drew out, right? Okay, look at this. Literally couldn't have held any better, right? And then look at the massive gap up. I know it was earnings, but if you really wanted to play earnings, I probably would have had the bias of being bullish because it's holding this level so well, right? So that's basically the idea about how I would go about playing these. Here's a 1 hour look of these levels. And then you can also see how I drew on the line chart. You wouldn't have been able to pull this trend line from that. Like it plays it almost perfectly. And that's because I pulled it from the line chart. So if you take anything from this, learn to chart on the line chart and use that's how I chart. I use the line chart. I recently kind of stopped charting, like pulling my levels, pulling my trend lines, pulling all that stuff from the candlestick chart, and I just go straight to the line chart and just play it that way. It makes it a lot easier. It makes my life a lot simpler, just because it makes these levels so much easier and cleaner to see. So if that's all your guys' questions, I hope I answered all of them. If you have any more tickers, send them to me real quick and I can do them. But if that's it, I'm gonna log off and that'll be it. And we'll hit the markets tomorrow and see how it goes, right? All right, cool. Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming. And I will see you guys in the Discord tomorrow. And we can, yeah, I'll post my levels tomorrow. I can post them tonight if you want to. Go and practice charting your levels on the line chart and then come and compare them to the levels that I put on the Discord and let me know what you guys think, and see if it's easier to chart them. So yeah, that's the things I'll be looking at. My favorite ones that you guys sent out. Oh gosh, I'm not going to remember. Meta for sure. Tesla, I like. Apple, I'm bullish over at this level. I'm actually going to create an alert right here right now because I'm probably going to play that level because it works really well. Now I'm going to do the same thing for Meta and I'll reevaluate later, but I'm probably going to play these levels just because they are really good. Okay. Thank you guys for coming. And every Sunday we got meetings. So make sure to join every Sunday at 8 p.m. We'll be sure to do more of these because I can tell you guys like it. And yeah, thanks a lot. See you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.